This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family. The easy way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. And thank you so much, even if some of us can't talk, for joining us on episode 183 of the Auburn Experience podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, who's clearly having some struggles this evening, as probably typical, but who's not having struggles and who is back with us and still not as good looking as my last co-host, Mr. Austin Scott. What's going on, sir?
It's going well. If it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So we're happy to be here. That's like that'd be the theme of E2C After Dark.
It was. I'm going to steer us away from that one.
I'll just go ahead. Let me just go ahead and call Brooks and get him back on here.
No, listen. Brooks can take my spot tonight. Clearly, I'm the one struggling. That's what's going on.
Time in the car will do that to you, man.
Oh, listen. Hey, extra shout out to Brooks, who joined us last week in Austin's place. We are very appreciative for stepping up to the plate, and we were very appreciative of you, our audience out there, who showed a lot of love to him for his perspectives and how he jumped right in and had a good time with me. I enjoyed our conversation. We'll definitely have Brooks on again in the future. Austin, I guess Austin better watch out. I don't know. I mean, I clearly need to watch out too, based off the way I started the show tonight.
I knew the risk I ran introducing the E2C family world to Brooks. But no, Brooks is a fantastic guy and a lot of fun. I don't know how much he shared, but we've gotten to know each other over the years, and discovered we took a class together at Auburn, like after the fact. And so that was Rick Smith's class, the voice of Jordan-Hare Stadium. Brooks and I took that class together. And so really great guy, loves Auburn construction updates, loves the Auburn food scene. I'm sure he plugged himself, but give him a follow. He does a series of hashtag Brooks Tries. And he'll go try all the random food things he can find. So great guy. Love that you all got a perspective of SEC Media Days from someone who was there. He and the friends over at Sports Call Auburn, the longest running sports talk show in the Auburn area, do a great job, and they have a lot of fun. So I'm really glad he was here, and I look forward to having him back on soon.
Yeah, it was a good conversation, and I really enjoyed hearing his perspectives. It's nice to actually have someone who walked the floors and heard some of the shenanigans and things like that. As we agreed, Austin, I think he and I did that. It wasn't the craziest of SEC Media Days. I mean, I don't know how much you got to follow it last week with your vacation and all. I know going to the beach or wherever you went. Did you have any quick thoughts on that? Or did anything stick out to you?
Well, yeah, I was in town for most of the actual part of Media Days, and got to just tuned in and listen to Coach Golish and the Auburn players of what we could. But yeah, I don't know if it's the scheme of the day and age we live in, where it's Media Days used to be like, let's find out how everything's going, and now we just find out way too much information all the time, and we consume it 24/7. But I do think that it was entertaining enough, and there were some that I listened to that I thought were interesting and some not, and it's a relic that feels like I truly wonder how long it's going to be around. I just feel like that could be something of college football that just bypasses us. I'm a native of Hoover, where it's long been, and it just doesn't feel like it's ever coming back there based on Commissioner Sankey's comments. And so it's a weird time, but it more than anything for me, Media Days, and I felt this, like I still got this feeling. Media Days is the unofficial kickoff of the season. And I still felt that. It was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, let's kick it off. Let's get going.
But that's a good point, though, is how long can this last, especially when you do things like move it down to Tampa? Great coordination with Coach Golish and where he came from. But let's just, I don't get it. I really don't. It's past any of our SEC. If we want to add Miami from the ACC, then it can maybe start making sense. Or I don't know. You want to add? People, here's the running joke: add the South Florida Bulls. You already did, Kyle. I mean, listen. it's weird. Maybe it is something that we probably should enjoy, because who knows if it'll last in the future.
Who knows? Nashville next year, I think, is what they announced.
Nashville, I believe, is next year. So, I guess Auburn North, looking at you.
I mean, I would think that's very central. I'm sure there's a way to triangulate and figure out all the exact option. You know it?
I have not done like the math or anything like that. What I know it's not. Here's the thing. I don't think it should be an SEC city. Like Birmingham is fine, even though it's right in the middle of Auburn and Alabama. So people would say that's kind of unfair for everybody else. What about Memphis, Tennessee?
Memphis, Tennessee.
It's a little closer to the west. It's going to be a far piece for Florida.
I think it's closest to Ole Miss, right?
I guess so. So it would be them, and probably Auburn North, or Nashville, as we call it, Vanderbilt.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine when you take in A&M and you take in Gainesville or South Carolina, it's somewhere in there would be the exact medium. I think Missouri is actually pretty close to that, I would imagine.
Give them something to actually be relevant for, I guess, if they're close.
Well, remember when we did didn't we do like the SEC basketball tournament like in St. Louis one year or something like that?
It feels like something the SEC would have done.
It's like why are we rewarding these people? I've made my feelings about Missouri well known on here.
Here we are. Here we
are. They are what they are.
I have some things to share from this weekend, sir, because
please.
I was on the loveliest village on the plains. And the Opelika area as well, as I've chronicled a lot here. My mother is now a resident of the Auburn Opelika area, and very proud as I am of that, and very excited to be there more often than I already have been, which is people are like, how can you go there more, Kyle? Oh, just wait. But we were there this week, and I got a chance to go to campus and do some things and go around town with her. First thing, we went to Chappie's, Austin. Because my mom is a big fan of Chappie's. Like, being from Montgomery, it was a staple down there. And so when I reminded her the other restaurant, it's not really any important thing to Auburn, but like there's two restaurants she loves, and Chappie's is one of them. And I said, remember, you got both of those things right in the heart of Auburn. So you have got your place. So you know what I'm about to say here.
I do.
Yes. I went back to the booth and saw the picture of the booth where our namesake for how we start the show off, one David Housel, and wrote his book From the Back Booth of Chappie's. Yes. So shout out for that, and shout out to him. So I got to go see that and experience that on a Friday evening. It was not busy in there, but it certainly wasn't dead. But his booth was, I think in a nice, honorable place because nobody sat in it. Maybe they just leave it completely vacant for him until he actually shows up. I don't know.
I'm looking for my book, but I think it's in my office. So Chappie's, I've sat in the back booth myself. It was an honor, but Chappie's has become I wouldn't say a regular place for us, but you will come to enjoy this as your daughter gets older. Chappie's is kids eat free with an adult meal purchase every single day.
Well, that's going to make Jessica outstandingly happy because she loves Chappie's too. So
it's amazing. You can get anything. It's like you can get anything there, and it's free. Like the kids' meals are free. And there's a lot of options. The kids' meals are actually really cool because the menu is like just picture based, and so they can actually order. And so like the boys they're like, I want the cheeseburger and I want the yogurt tonight, and
love it.
It's a great spot, but very underrated. But yes, the back booth at Chappie's is famous in the Auburn area because of its owner, I guess you could say.
I might as well be him an official ownership because he wrote a book about it. I think you claim it.
That's right.
Point. A couple other things. We do have construction updates that are starting to come out from my trip down there. So check those out that have already happened in photo format. We'll have video stuff coming out later. And then I got around to some other things around campus, some night shots of Sanford Hall, if you want to check that out. But last thing from my trip, as I promised you all and apologize for that, I will continue to gush about my baby girl, Hannah, and all the Auburn things that she's getting to do for the first time. We took her to the OG Mama G's for the first time, and my little Auburn heart could not grow 2 sizes too larger. I guess it could. I don't know. Somebody should say you have a doctor look at that, Kyle. But it was a great experience there. We got there right before one of the Auburn sports groups, I'm going to say, because I don't, my first guess when they walked in was women's golf. And then I started thinking tennis, and I was like, it could be the Tiger Paws. I don't know. So I was trying not to, be the creepy guy, just trying to stare at them and try to figure out what was going on there. But we obviously knew we got there right before a team arrived there. But she has been indoctrinated. She has gone and looked at the picture of Suge, hugging Bear Bryant and all that stuff. And so my baby girl has had her first of the Auburn staples. She's been to Sanford Lawn. She's been there. She has not stepped foot in Toomer's drugstore yet. We'll get there. But Mama G's has been checked off the list for Hannah, and I couldn't be more proud Auburn dad right now. I should have worn an Auburn dad shirt tonight for that.
There you go. I mean, she's moving through her list. I'm very glad to hear. I saw the picture and I thought Kyle and Jessica had to have their mama's love, and Hannah got her mama's love in the Mama G's. And so she had her mama holding her, feeling all the mama's love while people were getting their mama's love. And I just was very happy.
How many times are you going to say it?
As many times as I can. Look, you and I have been waiting to talk about this on air for a long time, so we're going to ham it up.
We will ham it up like the ham that's sitting on the mama's.
Actually, thank you. I was hoping you got that.
The dad jokes abound because now we both can do it open.
That's right. It's double, folks.
Double dad jokes. All right. Well, that's the gist of what I wanted to share from my time on the plains. Like I said, I will be there quite frequently, even more so. And as Austin's already residents, you'll be getting a lot of that flavor from both of us, as much as you can stomach with your mama's love too. All right. Auburn potpourri time. Let's talk about it. This is one of those times, Austin, we could just call it the schedule, section of our show, because this is the time for especially fall schedules that will carry over across even other seasons as well. But they've done a real good job for some of these, I guess you call interseasonal sports, just doing the fall one, just doing the spring one, as opposed to releasing it all at once. Some of them are still releasing it all. Anyway, let's start with the first one that we got this week. That is going to be getting very close to a full schedule, and that is for men's basketball. And so we knew a couple weeks ago, they announced the SEC opponents and where they were going to be, home, away, all that. You already knew who was going to be the home, who you get twice in a year for Auburn men's. This is Auburn men's basketball, just to clarify as well. So we got SEC dates for this one. Let's take a little look at it. I won't read through every single aspect of it, Austin, but if you at home have it in front of you, some things to keep in mind here is that you're going to be getting Tennessee at home, Georgia at home, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Florida, Alabama at the end of the year. So I have a couple points that I want to hit on this, and I think you're going to probably hit some of the ones that I want to talk about, Austin, but I want to open the floor for you. Initial reactions to the SEC schedule for Auburn men's basketball.
Yeah, my first thought when I saw it, I had to do some calendar check-in, and there are more home Saturday games than I realized, but it felt like there weren't as many at first glance. But I think you've got some good ones. Obviously it's going to sound like obvious. Of course you like having them at home, but I just loved when Tennessee comes to town. Yes, we've chronicled the connections to the Auburn and Tennessee programs at nauseum, but I think that game is always a lot of fun. There was a 1-2 game back, or it wasn't ended in a 1B and 1-2, but it was a top 5 matchup back a couple years ago. And there's just a lot that is meaningful to that game. And so I was very excited to see that return. Obviously you get Will Wade and LSU coming back, and you go down there and come here. And so I don't know. There wasn't a lot that stood out to me.
Other than Florida.
Other than Florida, yes.
But that's a midweek game.
Correct. That's kind of why I was like, what at my first glance is you see all these ones that are hyphen or that are slashed. And those are the midweeks because they haven't decided Tuesday or Wednesday yet. And so I was like, man, a lot of the big ones seem to be on the midweek with Florida, Tennessee, and then, Mississippi State is LSU. Like, it's a big miss. And so your Saturday ones are Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Alabama. And I mean, outside of Alabama, that's not a great Saturday home list to me.
Let me go and throw this out to the SEC. you clearly are doing certain things because you know it's going to play well. You've started to do Alabama and Auburn as the last game of the year. It wasn't always the case, just like with the Iron Bowl in football. And right now, it makes a lot of sense the way the basketball programs are playing both of them right now. So clearly, we're going to end with this because we know this is going to play real well. There's probably two programs that could have some implications towards the end. You know, that's Florida as well, especially with the ties between, there's ties between Tennessee and Auburn, Florida, and it's like staring you right in the face. How do you not swap Oklahoma and Florida? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's so easy to swap. And listen, we are the biggest advocates for always doing critical thinking and not assuming everything. So we recognize there's things that we don't understand about why these decisions, but it just looks so obvious. Why is Florida not a Saturday game? Because that is prime for a certain other thing. It should be as prime for a college game day if they're running at that point, because they start their tour a little bit late. I'm trying to. I love seeing the schedule. Trust me, it's just frustrating.
I agree with you, and I cannot imagine what it is like to try and put a conference schedule together with 16 teams and everybody being home and away at equal amount and travel and all. I cannot fathom. That sounds like a job nobody should ever have to do or would want. But it does just feel like there's some obvious ones here that were missed. Maybe this means some nice, nationally televised primetime games for Auburn on the midweek. That's always fun. But I mean, just seems like the Saturday slate is not up to par.
So let me ask you this: prediction time. I'm assuming the Outlift game is going to continue. Man. Where do you put it? Because no offense to anybody else, but like you put this with the marquee opponents.
A little offense.
So Austin, I don't. And when's the big camp out going to happen? Like, because we know that's become a staple every year. I don't see a better option. It's going to be the last one of the year. That's it. Everything's going to hinge on that last game of the year, the Outlift game. They'll probably do it.
Go ahead.
Oklahoma. It's going to be Oklahoma.
I think they'll do the Outlift game earlier. It's a bigger campaign, and there's a bigger meaning to it. But I don't. The athletic office might push the camp out on one of these earlier. But if I'm a student, I love going to Auburn basketball games, and I loved it as a student when I could just walk right in and when I had to line up. But that was a very different from freshman year to senior year. It was very different. But I'm not camping out for this until March 6th. I really wouldn't.
It's going to be a tough one, but maybe we're wrong, and maybe some of these teams that we're downplaying on Saturdays are going to end up being the marquee matchups. And I hope that's the case, because I think there's a couple misses here. Last bit on this: any stretches you think are the toughest for Auburn in this SEC schedule? I mean, I know it's hard to say right now, but I looked at this thing. I think it's pretty well spread out, to be honest with you.
It's well spread out, but I think I think the very end there it's not easy.
Kentucky, Ole Miss, Alabama.
Well weight at home, go to Rupp, go to the Pavilion, and then have Alabama at home. That's always been, the Pavilion. I feel like has been a sneaky place for Auburn. They've done pretty well and had some big comebacks. And then I think the beginning is pretty interesting too.
Don't talk about the one thing we don't talk about what you shouldn't talk about.
You got to go to College Station.
Don't say it.
And then
say it. Don't say it.
And then the Vols come home.
Don't say it.
It's gonna be talked about.
I will talk about it then. I ain't gonna get angry right now. If you've been here on the podcast, you know what I'm upset about. So that's just a little plug for y'all to continue watching. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't say it.
I think those first four and those back four could be all. You start strong and you end strong.
If you can start strong on this season, based off what we think we know about these teams right now, you're going to get off to hopefully a really good start in SEC play for a very tough stretch at the end. So there's your SEC schedule. We'll get the full schedule hopefully in the next coming weeks and months as they finalize some of that non-conference schedule that's still lingering out there. But we got a lot of exciting basketball news still to come for you all. Speaking of more schedule news, it's all starting to trickle in here for some of the things together. So we're going to do a little bit of a combined golf release schedule here because, folks, if you haven't been paying attention, not just on the men's side of things, but also on the women's side of things, it's going pretty good right now. You just had two individual players on both men's and women's set the record for individual wins last season together you missed Jackson Coyven talk back last week, Austin. I just hope you know that. Like you picked the wrong week to be able to gush about the PGA Tour. But for our purposes here, we want to mention the schedule for both the men's and the women's side of thing. Now, just to be 100% here, we're not going to go through all this. You can find that they posted online, but they've got graphics out as well. Just kind of perusing the men right now. One thing that I really want to draw the Auburn family's attention to is the Eastlet Cup in Atlanta. I have personally been out there for this event 2 years ago. I think it's about every other year they go. It's October 26th to the 28th. There's a ton of Auburn folks in the Atlanta area. I would highly, highly encourage you if you can, because when I went, the parking was free, and you could be right up there with the team and stuff like that. So
is that our side of Atlanta, or
it would be a little proximity? It's central Atlanta. It's pretty central Atlanta. So you're going to have to contend with Atlanta. I recognize that, but I just want Auburn people that are in the Atlanta vicinity and suburbs to come check that out and support this program, because you have obviously a lot of reasons right now as a two out of the last 3 championships being won by them. They will host the Tiger Invitational on March 15th through 16th in Auburn. That's something for you to put on your calendar if you're obviously in the Auburn area. There's a lot in Georgia, Florida. They got to go out to Hawaii for the Mir Ari again towards the beginning of the spring portion of that. So there's that big gap from like November to March, basically, where they're not going to be competing. Anything else stick out to you from the men's side?
Just looks like good places that a lot of the Auburn family looks to be. A lot around the Southeast, and a lot around just the SEC at large footprint. You mentioned it, but it gets very, very cold at this time of year. It's a biting cold in early February. So I do look forward to you taking us to Hawaii again to see the Auburn men's golf program. So that'll be very exciting. February 4th through 6th, per usual.
Not quite, my friend. We still haven't reached those heights yet, but maybe one day. Speaking of cold, let's talk about the women's event that they're going to be at. That's at Minneapolis. They're starting. Listen, it's September. I get that, so it's fine. And obviously, Minneapolis or Minnesota has been very good for Auburn personnel as of late. For the women, they're going to be up there to start off their season in the beginning of September. I mean, once again, you're going to find a lot of things across the Southeast. They're getting out a little bit more into Ohio, North Carolina. They'll have that gap just like the men do. Florida, South Carolina, Texas, Kennesaw, Georgia, kind of like I talked about with Auburn folks that are close by and like conglomerations. That'll be March the 23rd, I think is what that is. It's small on my screen.
Yeah, it's very small.
At Kennesaw, Georgia, you want to check that one out. Birmingham right after that. And then, of course, there will be campus sites. And Carlsbad, California for both the men and women for the national championships.
Is this a typo on Fort Worth and Kennesaw on the same days, or will they send some to different areas?
It's a great question. It could be a typo, but see, we've seen other sports as well spread the team out. And I believe that's actually happened with our women last year. So it could be one of those things where they spread them out and send one to a certain event and then in another. It's a good point out. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I'm looking on the website to see if it might be any different.
But surely they would have caught it by now and changed it. But I think you're onto it with that, because we did see that with the women's program last year. That could have potentially happened and might happen.
It's not a typo. So that I'm assuming that's what they're doing.
That's what we have you here for, Austin, is Eagle Eye pointing out all of the different things that we want you to be aware of as Auburn fans on the schedules, especially for golf, as the men compete to defend their national title and the women continue to hopefully maintain their success that they've been having as well. Good time for Auburn golf. So it's a good thing for you to be aware of for the schedules for this particular season. We do have more schedule talk that we're going to reserve for next time, but real quick, I want to give Austin and I a chance to talk about what's been going on a lot with voting for Auburn. If you haven't heard, you can go vote for a lot of Auburn things with the USA Today right now. Brooks and I talked about it a lot last week. We were mainly talking about it in the vein of Aubie and and I think he's still a number one, if I'm not mistaken, Austin. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But you can go vote for all these different things on the USA Today votes that they're having right now. You can vote for the band, which I think moved all the way up from the teens to like 6th place or 5th place,
nice.
maybe. at this point. So that's we got to have that, folks. Come on, let's get that going. All the different traditions. They have the pregame walkout tradition, generic traditions for, like Rolling Tumors Corner, band, obby, venue, fan base. So you know what to do, folks. Go out there and vote. Austin's voting every day. I've been checking on him
as much as I can. Created accounts for my twins.
Is it not like legally part of your requirement as an Auburn employee to take part in these things? I mean, come on.
I'm not going to make that joke.
Never mind. I set you up and you were wise and just moved on. But yeah, it's a good opportunity for you to show your Auburn pride and let them know that you love Auburn, all the traditions, things like that. So go check that out. I'm going to move us forward in the show because it's a busy one today. And so we're going to go ahead and move right into our main topics this evening. As I promised you all after SEC Media Days, we would start to get into more speculative talk. And while our subject today is not really going to be super speculative, we're just going to talk about the facts, get you a preview of the offense, the position groups. So we have no clue what the offense makeup and scheme is officially going to look like yet. We do know that coach wants to run the piss out of the ball. I think that's been very well established over the last several months that he said that. However, right now we can only go off of just minor things like that. So let's just get to know the team. If you weren't aware already, who is going to be all that and part of this 26 roster. Let's start with the quarterbacks, Austin. And obviously you go no further with talking about quarterbacks and mentioning Byron Brown. I think, this has been one of the more, I don't want to say mundane, but I want to say just easy to handle quarterback discussions. There's not really been a quarterback race or anything like that in terms of someone vying for that number one spot. It's been QB1 Byron Brown the whole way. The other ones that you want to pay attention to are Tristan Tia, might be running for the second. Lachlan Hewlett coming over from USF as well, who was the backup to Byram last year there. And then Reese Brush, who just came in. And then there's obviously others on the team as well, but those are your main core guys that seem to be the ones to pay attention to in the depth chart. So Austin, when you look at the quarterback room, obviously there's Byron Brown, but what sticks out to you, and do you think Auburn fans need to know about this quarterback room?
Yeah, well, I know you and Brooks discussed it, but Byron Brown seemed to be very impressive among the media last week, and both in person, but also in just his confidence and his ability. I think that people are kind of starting to, from the national standpoint, starting to kind of understand that he might be able to make this translate from what he's had as a successful career already in the American and now to the SEC. But I mean, that is the question, right? It has been, for lack of a better term, quarterback purgatory for Auburn here for quite a little while, of just kind of nothing or nothing that elevates what this offense of what it needs to be. Certainly guys who have given it effort and tried, but nothing that has been exceptional to get this offense just kind of back off the mat. And Auburn certainly hopes, and Byron Brown and his connection with Coach Golish and the rest of the receivers and offensive linemen on this team, that his leadership will be the thing they've been looking for. And so like you said, Tristan Tia, the backup, I think everybody was very impressed with him at A-Day. You can take that for what it's worth, but I think that goes a long way, and hopefully that well, God forbid anything happened to Byram this year, but that Tristan Tia would be serviceable as well. So I think Auburn fans have a lot of hope in that room. I think it'd be okay to be a little skeptical too. And a little just wait until you see it. But I'm very looking forward to seeing what he can do in this offense.
Well, what I will say about this room, and it's all speculation at this point, but it feels very full right now in terms of people that you can feel some type and level of trust in, that they are going to be capable. Byram's been around here, and the big question is he ready for the SEC? And certainly that's a fair question, but he showed he's an athlete. He's a quarterback. He can do it. Can he do it consistently in the SEC? Mm-hmm. That's the question. So he's got some answers there. We've seen some promising things from Tristan Tia. But he's still young. We know that Lachlan's been practicing behind Byram previously at USF, so he's familiar with this system. So even if you had, like, heaven forbid, knocking on all the wood here, a string of injuries. You've got guys that are talented enough, that seem to know the offense well enough that you should be pretty comfortable with things. But, you've got two sophomores that are vying for that backup spot. Is it simple? Is it Tristan Tia right now in your mind? Or do you think Lachlan's still got a chance to lock up the number 2 spot where he was sitting previously at USF?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me given his familiarity. But I think Tristan Tia showed pretty well that, even though Lachlan had a year under his belt with this offensive staff at South Florida, that Tristan was able to come in and, do pretty well to meet expectations and show he's also maintaining the grasp of that offense. So I would expect it to be him. He has D1 playing experience as well, and has been the guy for not a great team, but he's been on the field. I think that helps him. So like we said, we really want nothing to happen to Byron Brown because we'd rather these guys continue to develop and be ready for what could be a very fun competition next year. But I think the room as a whole is pretty solid.
Yeah, I would feel more. It's not that I felt uncomfortable about previous quarterback rooms, and some are going to scoff at that statement, but this one, just because of all the reasons I've listed, I felt a little bit more settled about, and it's been nice to have an off season where there really hasn't been a discussion about that. I think some people wanted there to be a discussion there because of throwing motions and all that, but I think that's just people needing talking points and things to drive content in the off season, which, is understandable, I guess, in some ways. But that's your quarterback room for 2026. Running backs, let's start there. Wow, the running backs. I can't think of a time where there were this many running backs to at least talk about in so they're viable options to be utilized since maybe I'm skipping a couple of years, 2003. Now I know that's not a great year if you go back there, but I'm thinking Ronnie, Cadillac, Brandon Jacobs, Trey Smith. I count Brandon Johnson as a fullback there because he was utilized a lot as well. But this is a year where it's Jeremiah Cobb. It's kind of similar to the quarterback room. That's the guy. There's no doubting that right now. Coach Gullis says it. We're going to run the piss out of the ball. So you got to have a lot of people in this room. You've got some of the holdovers from last year, and Alvin Henderson that's still here, Omar Mabson, the hometown kid. But really the conversation is a lot around Bryson Washington. And in terms of maybe guys are going to be right behind Jeremiah Cobb or right there with them in terms of splits. You've got Tay Meadows, who came over from Troy, Nakai Davenport, who came over from USF, many others as well that are going to be in there, Christian Burnett, Cole Gamble, that could be. You're going to be running the football a lot. So this is one of those times that you should probably know everybody on the running back room, because I wouldn't be shocked if all but maybe one or two of these running backs on this list potentially see some type of minutes out there. And if they run the score up on a few people, which would be nice, you'll see them all. So
yeah.
Is it Jeremiah's world and that's it? Is that really the simpleness of this running back room?
I certainly think for all intents and purposes, he'll be the starting guy. And I think that, as far as I can see, he's the only non-transfer that's projected as the starter, or true freshman or transfer projected as the starter right now. And so it shows you how much this team had to replace on offense, or that they brought in to supplement in a coaching change. But Jeremiah stayed. This will be his senior year. And so I certainly think he will be the guy. He should have had a 1,000-yard season last year, and had a remarkable year. But with the comments about how much Auburn plans to run the ball and how much they expect the rushing attack to be centrally focused in this offense, I think you're going to see a lot of these guys on the field a lot. We talked about Omar Mabson, Alvin Henderson as guys who have been here, but Nakai Davenport was brought in, Bryson Washington was brought in. Those were guys who had success at their previous stops and were the guy, quote, And so I think that you're going to see a lot of different rushing attacks and a lot of different guys carrying the ball. But will the collective unit be able to have that good rushing number that you want to see at the end of the year? I don't think we're at a point anymore where, and it's always been funny to me that we just as a society, 1,000 yards rushing is it doesn't really mean anything, but it's just we love round numbers. We love round numbers, and we're just fun. It's just a fun thing. It's kind of like 10 wins, and 10 wins in a season is just, it doesn't really, you don't get an extra rhythm.
Sure.
but it's just kind of fun. It's double digits. Exactly. It's 4 digits if you get 1,000 yards. So, but I think if you can have that collective rushing attack and all of them contribute to put up the big rushing numbers you're accustomed to, this team's going to do really well.
Yeah, I think obviously Jeremiah is going to be your leading candidate for that 1,000-yard rusher. But if we run as much as Coach Golish is talking about, I think then certainly you could have some multiple candidates for that. Or you could play it the other way, that there's so much distribution to be had out there that maybe it's not possible for you to reach that 1,000 yards if that's what you're as a fan focusing on, because everybody's getting so many opportunities, which it sounds like they're going to be and need to be, to stay healthy, stay fresh, all that stuff. I like having that. Listen, I'm excited about this running attack and what it could potentially be. The only other thing that I'd point out is there's been some discussion about, has there speculatively been some shifting of who's behind Jeremiah Cobb? I think a lot of people assume Bryson would be the likely number 2 or 1B type of situation, given he was one of the main focal points at Baylor. You'll, depending on what sites you look at, you're going to see like Omar Mabson listed there. You're going to see others as well. I wouldn't focus so much on who's the number 2, because as we pointed out, everybody's going to utilize a lot. But how cool would it be if Jeremiah Cobb and Omar Mabson, arguably the 2 main guys of the running back room who are left over? I know Alvin's still there, but he hasn't had a ton of opportunities on the field yet. That would be really cool, just to see the guys that stuck around. They're getting the Tigers, not Lion, Tigers share of the carries. But running back room is very full and a lot to be excited about. The wide receivers, Austin. Hey, hope you enjoyed watching everybody last year, because they ain't nobody here. I do want to give a shout out to Bryce Kane. Bryce has actually popped in on a couple of our streams else places, and we expressed how much we appreciate those that have chosen to stay, not throwing shade at those who haven't. I think a lot of you are too focused on others elsewhere, and the things, you got too many eggs in one basket there. But the wide receiver room, a lot of new names, and a lot of them are, yes, from the USF Bulls. So whatever jokes you want to insert there, go right ahead if that makes you feel good. Here's some names for you to know: Jeremiah Coger, Chaz Nimrod, Bryce Kane, as we mentioned, Christian Neptune, Deshaun Spencer. That's probably an exciting one there. Eric Smith, Keyshawn Singleton. Will Upton's been here for a while. If you want to, just have a name that hasn't seen a lot of action, but he's been around for a while. Brady Marchese, I think is how you say it, or is it we've debated
Marchese. Yeah, I don't know if we ever looked it up.
Corey Pettigrew, Brian Williams, Sam Turner, and a few others as well. Austin, what name sticks out to you the most that Auburn fans should be paying attention to out of that very new group?
Yeah, well, we've discussed the USF guys at length. I feel like that we all knew that the importance of their camaraderie with Byron Brown and their relationship. You always wonder about that with a new quarterback in general, of how well will he mesh with the guys who are here? How well will they develop that chemistry that you need? Just timing of breaks, timing of throws, all the things. Well, these guys have been doing it for a couple of years together. And so you don't worry about that as much. You just worry about it all translating in new jerseys, new helmets, and new stadiums. And so we certainly hope that's the case. I think that, like you mentioned with Deshaun Spencer and even Brian Williams Jr., I think lots of people were excited to see that as true freshmen, they are already getting a lot of looks. And I think you could see why at A-Day that Coach Golish prioritized the both of them in his short little time as coach, trying to recruit and all amongst all the other things of being a new head coach. Prioritized those guys and got them here, got them committed and signed. I think that because of that, you're going to see a lot of trust in them of they can operate the offense he wants to operate in his first year. And then, as you mentioned, Bryce Kane and Sam Turner are kind of your 2 guys left from the receiving room that was. And so where will they find time? Where will they fit in? I think a lot you can pick up from a lot of these guys too on are any of these guys going to be, I know we're previewing offense, but I think it's worth mentioning. Are any of these guys going to be your punt returner or your special teams returner? You often see the quick receivers possibly play a role in that. So we'll see if that's a way some of these guys can find their way on the field, even if it's not in this receiver rotation.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where you can start to, cut your teeth, so to speak, and earn the trust of your coaches and teammates and maybe get some more time on the field. Let me just ask, when Auburn runs out at starting, usually 3, it's not all, you can run 2, you run 4 out there, 5 out there, but usually starting 3 wide receivers, are they all USF Bulls? when it's the first game? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's what most people are thinking.
Yeah, I'd like to pick one. If I had to pick one,
I was going to
I
ask
think
who.
it's Sean Spencer. I think that they like him a lot. That's just the gut feeling I have. And based on how much I think he had the most catches on A-Day, and so the ball finds him. And so I could see him finding a way to be out there. But like I've said before, I think these receivers are going to rotate a lot, and you're going to find a lot of guys on the field. Like you said, 3 at a time, 5 at a time, 4 at a time. I think we're going to see a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I think I'll go Bryce Kane, and I think that's really just my personal rooting in this.
Sure.
Just because I'm Lynn, no shade to people who chose to seek other opportunities. You're allowed to do that, but I love seeing the guys that chose to stay get rewarded, and I hope that he earns that spot. Either way, brand new group. Get excited because, listen, you really don't know who's going to be number 1, number 2, number 3 on this list. It could be completely opposite of what people are thinking, but those are some of the names that you should be aware of for the wide receiver room this season. Tight ends is another group that I think is a little bit Auburn fans are probably like, what do we expect from this group? Because it hasn't been really what we had hoped or what we thought some other units might have been of previous regimes. I think Rivaldo Fairweather brought us some hope 2 seasons ago before he had a slump after that, that we were heading in the right direction of having traditional receiving tight ends that were going to be a little bit more exciting. Depending on where you look, it could be some of the USF guys that chose to either come over in recruiting classes or over here. Jake Johnson is probably the one that everybody feels like is going to be your tight end to watch the most, given what he was thought of at North Carolina and where he's been. I think if I remember correctly, Austin, he had some health things that he had to kind of work
that's
through.
Right.
And so that's a big question there. Arliss Boardingham, Xavier Newsome, Ryan Gee. Hunter Herring's a bit of a wild card because he's been a quarterback, he's been a wide receiver, he's been a tight end. So he could be that really, should I say, I want to say Chandler Cox, but he was more of a fullback tight end hybrid. But like, you get what I'm saying, the Swiss Army knife. So gave you some names here to look at. Jonathan Eccles as well. Anything else stick out to you at tight ends?
Jonathan Eccles is the one. I was wondering if you were going to mention him there at the end. Jonathan Eccles is the one that intrigues me the most because, like these receivers, he's a South Florida guy who's been with Byron Brown and Alex Golesh. And I think the tight end in this offense is more of one that is that receiving threat. It's not so much of more of the blocking and the filling space that we've kind of seen in the past few years. And so with Jonathan Eccles having a good grasp on that, I'd be interested to see if he gets on the field quicker than other guys. Xavier Newsome was the guy they brought in from Howard, I believe, with Larry Scott coming along as well. He seems to be very athletic, and Jake Johnson has played a lot of football. And so I think all 3 of those guys are kind of maybe a little bit above the rest at the moment, but I'd be very interested to see if Jonathan Eccles is one of your first guys out there. Wearing number 1. How about a tight end wearing number 1?
That's wild, man.
That's a bit weird.
I think that's weird, but I tell you, my focus is on Hunter Herring and where he's going to be thrown into this offense. Because you if a guy can do all these things, it's in my opinion, it is a waste of talent to not find a way to throw him out there. Can I just throw this out there to you? Do we see Hunter Herring run out there under center to like throw some people off, and then he switches over, at the last second? I wonder if we're going to see a little bit of that in this offense.
Yeah.
Because yes, you're going to run a lot, but I get a feeling that there's some tricks. You don't bring a guy like that in if you're not planning on using that way. But Jake Johnson, maybe, as you said, Jonathan Eccles, plenty of other names, some that have still just one really that's been around for a while here, and then a lot of USF connections in the tight end room. Finally, offensive line. And I saved it for last for a reason, because Coach has asked you to pray for this group a lot. And I think he's probably regretting making that statement because people don't know how to take a joke. I mean, here's the reality. You would have to be not doing your homework to not see what one of the biggest struggles has been at Auburn over the last 5, 6, 7 years. And that has been consistent offensive line play. And I've seen some fans that still struggle to understand that that's been its biggest issue, is consistently good play at the offensive line. Is this the year that it happens? I don't know, but at some point, Austin, right? Like we're getting to the law of, I think it's the law of diminishing returns, where at some point it's got to swing the other way. It's more likely that it's going to happen. So I don't say all this to downplay these guys here. Clearly, I think there's some questions about injuries for individuals. Before I mention some of the guys' names, and you can give anybody a shout out you'd like to, where are you at on this offensive line to start off the year?
Well, like I said, with quarterbacks and receivers, a big indicator of success is how early can they all gel as a unit, and how early can the quarterback find the receivers and develop that chemistry. I think you're looking at the similar topic here with this offensive line. They're all transfers. There's not as many South Florida guys in this unit that came over with Golish. There's certainly Cole Best and Cole Skinner are two guys that played a lot of football and know the offense very well. But the other three or 4 or 5 guys are transfers or were here before, or transfers from other institutions or were already here. And so getting them all on the same page is a feat that if you've watched any Auburn football the last handful of years, you would know is not an easy task to accomplish. And so I think people are very validated in wanting that to be the biggest question mark about this offense and where can it go. And prayers for the group is worthy and feels right, because I feel like Auburn fans have been praying for an offensive line that can help that offense move for a long time.
And this, the prayers, so to speak, are more tongue in cheek, because it's just about the unit wanting to see some,
right.
Because we don't want what has been transpiring for the last couple of years to continue with this group, and that just to continue to bleed over and all that kind of stuff. I think if I have a question, there's been a lot of discussion about Stanton Ramil and whether he is healthy and is going to stay consistently healthy, because by all accounts, he looks like he's going to be in the starting group if that's the case, along with the guys from USF. Derek Plaza is a guy too that I think I've seen a lot of people mention in that. Joe Simmons, I remember back in spring practice, not only was he like being thrust forward as one of those leader types by the coaches and getting a lot of interview time and things like that. You're going to see him up there. He is a senior. Here's one thing, some projections out there, you're looking at a group that's heavy in seniors and juniors. So if nothing else, there's experience on the offensive line. Some of those, the Cale Ellis is still, he's experienced in the Auburn struggles of offensive line, but he had some bright and shining moments like there. Jacoby Ward's been around. Wilson Zaire is the brother of Killian Zaire, a very good offensive lineman at Auburn during the struggling, right before the struggling stretch, I think is what it is. A few other names out there, Parker Pritchett, Bear McWhorter, Jack Lair, just some things, some names to make. Tay Buster as well to keep in mind for your offensive line unit. It's the big question. Do we still need to pray for them? And can they be consistently reliable is what I think the phrase needs to be on both aspects of the game, running and passing. If they will be consistently reliable, you are going to be the favorite unit for Auburn fans for this 2026 season. All right, that brings us to our last main topic of the evening. Austin, as much as I love construction updates, and this is now not an official construction update, we were blessed with a little bit of a surprise this week. If you are an Auburn a donor, season ticket holder, I think this went out to basically anybody that's almost bought a ticket pretty much. And of course, lots of the media shared with it. But, we've got a lot of construction projects going on right now, and some major on the football, baseball is wrapped up. There's been discussions about what should happen with basketball and some things like that. But the reality of the situation is you don't just focus on those. It has to go across a lot of different things for Title IX, all that kind of stuff. And I think people need to realize that when we talk about it. But we got in this survey that was sent out some, I'll call them blue sky concepts maybe, because I think that's really, they gave us some figures and numbers with them, but some ideas for how to enhance certain facilities, a couple that we'll be talking about here: baseball, again, basketball, softball, and soccer. So let's just go through those real quick and see what we think about them. I'm actually prepared this time, Austin, and I have on the screen. It's like Kyle actually did his homework. Let's see if I put them in order right. The very first one that we want to talk about in these released from the survey is going to be the baseball ones, and these are the majority of the graphic. Why, you want to talk about one different? different
No,
order?
it's okay. I'll let you know which one I'm most excited about when we get there.
Oh, now I'm intrigued. Okay. Okay. Well, sorry, baseball. I guess it's not you because here we go.
To be fair, it's been a lot lately with baseball.
It's been a lot. Yeah. All right. But I do know that this is something people are going to be interested in seeing because here's the very first thing right there. And you know what that is, Austin. Tell me what that is.
That's the right field hitting facility. It's a full-on rooftop access, right?
A terrace, like terrace, kind of like the football stadium is going to have on the very top of that. If you look at that, and certainly our images.
Corner.
Yeah, K corner is right there. From this image, Austin, it doesn't look like the building has been changed underneath it in any way. I think that matches with the elevation, but the height of everything, all that kind of stuff. What I find most interesting is look on the right side of that image. What do you see over there?
It looks like we get a little walkway down there.
Thing that I screenshotted that's in the shot right now that I can see. That's annoying as heck to me. A little bit of a walkway, isn't it?
We'll get a little more connectivity around Plainsman Park.
I think that's going to be something that they want to do to maintain down there below. If you're not aware, there's some donor type of event space area back there that they want to kind of keep separate. It avoids you having to walk to the back of the facility to some scaffolding that they did put up safely, but let's be honest, was not the most, permanent thing that we needed to put there.
It was done efficiently, but quickly.
Yes, it was, and safely. I will continue to reiterate that. But there you go. That's the concept, at least, of what this is. Again, all these images are just conceptual, as it says, and not approved at all. But something for you to keep in mind about what you could be staring at in the right field aspect of the stadium. Now, Austin, what as I bring us back, try to figure out how to do that. Right there, you stare and stay in the screen.
Very close.
Does that make you happy what you're seeing, or would you want something different out there?
No, certainly. I think that you could see, if you watched any of the super regionals with some of the bigger schools, like I don't want to say bigger, like Auburn's not a bigger school, but a bigger SEC schools, that outfield, which Auburn has done a very good job of allowing students to kind of make that a place where they can gather. The outfields are a big emphasis, and I think that does a good job of allowing Auburn, after they've run some test runs, allowing them to also have an outfield presence like that. That looks really good. I love that scoreboard too. I love that, like the elongated kind of old school looking scoreboard. I know they're not approved, but I would hope that comes along with it. Also looks to me, that back area to me looks similar to what we talked about on top of Auburn, the Jordan Hare North terrace with some food options. So I'm interested to see what comes.
Auburn's Plainsman Park has loved to take elements of certain baseball stadiums, Fenway, Camden Yards, others as well. I'm going to ask you, is there anything that looks familiar to you with that right field situation?
It does.
What would that be?
It looks a little chop housey.
It looks a little chop housey, and I think that's probably where I'm just
going
to throw it out there.
It's a great pull.
I'm not the biggest Atlanta Braves fan compared to you, sir, but like I know what I see something. I know what
you're not. It looks a little chop housey. So now my imaginary brain is starting to go through concepts of what we name out there and who's gonna come up with their own. We've got Pat's Place in Jordan here. What's the Big Hurt gonna put out there? That's what I want to know.
I don't think it's the Big Hurt. I think it's the rain deck, the bringer of rain. It's over his hitting facility.
That's fair enough. It's good.
Rain deck.
We need a special restaurant then for the rain man out there.
The rain man. There you go. You just named it. That's it.
The rain man.
All right.
The water bar.
The water. Okay. Now we're in. Here's the last couple ones that I want to share with you guys. This is that area over in left field that has been going through some different iterations. You saw that with the changes during the actual super regionals and regionals this year, where they're playing with this. You can see they're putting some more permanent situations above those loge boxes, I guess is what you call them, right there on the hill, the terrace area, and then keeping, it looks like I'm going to switch over. It's going to do a weird switch thing on this thing. There it goes to the Plainsman Park Yeti Yard, keeping that option up there to get your food and beverages and more of a hangout stand-up space. I don't think we need to focus on this too much, but just to let people see that one more time there, just for the perspective. I think, Austin, this is probably one that's not super exciting because there's not really anything new other than setting some seating there more permanently.
Right.
But I mean, do you think that's the right way to go with that area for baseball?
Yeah, I do. I think they've shown it has success, and I think that kind of the days of lining up and bringing your own chairs are probably over. It allows for some more permanent seating and more reserved seating. But that's casual, but that allows you to spread out up there. So I'm not surprised by that. I think they had some proof of concept to go with. Go ahead and put that forward.
I will miss the mad rush of the chairs, though. I mean, that was one of the there's these certain things when we start making things more formal that I think we lose a little bit of that fervor and stuff like that. And that's not saying that that's a bad thing. I just think that's one of the sacrifices that have to making things look new and pristine and all these other reasons why we add new things in. But I will miss the mad dash of the chairs being thrown out there. So,
yeah, that's fair.
That's something to keep in mind. But these are only just concepts. So we're going to move to our next one in this. And this one, I got to have some feedback from you, Austin. This is for basketball. Neville Arena North being the key descriptor there, club sketch. So if you want to kind of put your brain properly, the north end of the Neville Arena would be the side that you arrive in from the main entrance, right? That'd be the one where the camp out happens for the most part, is where I'm kind of that end of it, where that side of the court. Because the south end of that would be more towards like the swimming area back there, the outdoor swimming area at the rec center and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about this too much, but my thought now that we're going through it is that it's more. Let's say you're in Neville Arena. Let's stand with me on center court here. We're standing in the middle of the logo, and we're looking.
Logo win.
What?
Logo, Wendell. Logo win. Sorry. That was just a brain fart. I had to get out real quick. Go ahead.
Had a good TBT, by the way.
Yeah, you did.
Anyway, wow. Okay, student sections to my left. PA announcers to my right. We're looking up at it's the national anthem. We're standing, we're looking up at the flag. Yes, you're with me? Okay.
I'm with you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
we're
still thinking about logo win. Sorry.
The left north corner would be where the students come down, right? And the Auburn bench is behind me to the right. I think this is somewhere, and I could be totally wrong. I think this is probably more toward the right behind the opposing bench. That would still be the north area. And I don't think, if I remember right, there's as much club access back there. I think it's more kind of utilized for maybe some storage and marketing efforts. So I could see that area being used.
So you're proposing that's where this is right now.
I think it's really hard to tell.
It is very hard to tell in this concept. I almost thought, Austin, was this going to take over the old Hall of Fame, which has become more of a glorified dining hangout area,
like the top level.
Not even the top level, the bottom level.
Yes. I'm thinking top from the court. Yeah.
Yes.
You could be right. I mean, yeah. I don't know. That would make me sad, but
it would be. But that's pretty much, it's a shell of what it used to be, though, to be honest.
It is.
And I think there's a case to be made, another discussion for another day, for where another Auburn Hall of Fame should go. I have some ideas.
I've got it. I also have some ideas.
We can discuss that another day. But obviously there's a need to get, and I know, just cue all the boo birds about you need a more affordable thing. We understand. But there's obviously an audience for this, folks. So that's why they have to provide it. And so this club area is an idea that could be utilized to enhance Neville Arena, men's and women's basketball. And so that could be in your future, something to keep in mind. A couple more here that we got to talk about. And I'm still haven't gotten Austin's favorite yet. So I'm curious if this is the one from this survey of concepts that's brought up. J.B. Moore, was this your favorite, or just the one we got?
This was not my favorite.
Okay, interesting. All right. Now I know where you're at. But anyway, let's talk about this one. So this one is for softball at J.B. Moore. As I understand it, looking at the way this concept is built out, this would be the left field side of the stands. And this would be pushed back a little bit further, because you look on the right of the image there, you can see those high stands that were put in several years back when softball was having a really nice run. It was a hot ticket.
Oh, yeah.
So where's the hitting facility? Austin, that's over there on the left side of the field. Help me understand where this concept would go for softball.
But now hang on a minute. The hitting facility's on the right.
Would that be the bullpen? Maybe there's a facility that's over there that's utilized for some type of warming up, and I thought it was the
I think that is I can't remember now. Now you're throwing me off, but you're right. There is something there, and so I guess that is getting repurposed or removed. But I'm thrown off on where this might be. Yeah, but I do think it is where you're saying. I just can't remember what is all there at the current moment.
But what you see in this concept art is more of these loge, as that's what you say, boxes, and kind of premium options that are out there. Again, when they made this survey, if you got it, they put some figures and things on that about how much these things would cost. It also, I think, would redo some bathroom options on that side, which can be a little bit small and tight at J&B Moore if you've ever been over there. Probably some food options as well to expand that a little bit, because it can get pretty busy over there at J&B Moore, and to, give some more foot traffic space, some more places to get some food, some premium options. I think, frankly, Austin, it's a good investment for softball. So even if it's not like your favorite out there, of the ones that and sorry, I'm going back to the baseball one there by accident. I wonder if this is probably, I want to say necessary, one of the more important ones to see come to fruition, because I think it's an investment in that program that needs to happen, frankly. Like that's just kind of where I'm at on that.
I think that's fair. I've been trying to do some research and see what that facility is, because you're right, there is a large facility there, and it kind of already covers over the stands. Like there
will be some moving around of things if this were to come.
Yeah. Okay. I do think it is. Based on this picture, I do think it is bullpens. Because but it's on the ground, so it's almost like like it's on field level, and then the roof is almost like just above your head if you were sitting in the stands that you saw next to that area now. So that would move, presumably, which is a rather important.
There's some space back there there's some space in the outfields back that way that they could repurpose some things.
It looks like there might be some too that are over on the right out by the hitting facility that are that are outdoor and maybe easier. That would be the Auburn home dugout side too. So maybe they're using those more already now, and this bullpen is older, because I think the hitting facility was built in 2023.
That sounds right.
So it might kind of be one of those things that's like, hey, we don't use this anymore. Yeah. Is there an avenue for us to upgrade? But I'm with you that I think that it's always the chicken or the egg. Do you have to kind of invest in some things to get it going, or do you reap the success of it and then invest and continue to build it? The softball program, it might be at that point where it's kind of, let's see if we can invest in it to give it a head start.
Yeah, absolutely. Which brings us to our final one of this survey that Austin's been excited to talk about, as you can tell from the finger guns that he just threw out there, which was totally a dad gesture to make. Whoa, man. Well, I know it's the end of the show, but settle down now. Settle down. So here we go. This is the concept that was released in this survey. Again, keep in mind, this is just conceptual, and that's all you need to think about it. Auburn Soccer Complex sketch.
Look at that, man.
I think of all the ones we've looked at, other than baseball, because it's already had a ton of that. This one would be the most altering overhaul of a space. What I'm seeing here, Austin, if you've ever been out to the Auburn Soccer Complex, aka the HAPA.
That's what it's about to be. That's what it should be. I'm about to get on it here, but you go ahead. I won't interrupt you anymore.
But you've still got some walkway space below. If you've ever been there, there's some walking area we can stand down there above the actual stands. Thankfully, there's a lot of nighttime games this year, so it's not going to be as hot, but it looks like there's going to be some more of a shade structure being thrown over there. I don't know where the press box is going to go in this one.
That was my question.
And then you look, there's going to be some premium type of box booth things. And if you aren't aware, there's actually a very core group that love to tailgate and stuff for these soccer matches that I would see buying these up very quickly. And so that looks like what this is more of a reimagining of the space in order to really modernize, update, provide some amenity type things such as shade, I'm sure, overhaul bathrooms and make some more premium things. So to me, Austin, I think you and I would both agree this is probably the most needed at this point of the ones that we have looked at. I think
long overdue. Long overdue. Look, I'm sure when it was built, it was very good. But the Auburn soccer complex has been, with the success they've had, it's long overdue to have something like this that is state of the art. This looks, I'm not a soccer aficionado, but this looks very soccer-y. It looks very professional. I just think that the shading and the stands that high gives you more of a view of the entire field. You still have a very wide concourse for people to walk through, the wide area for the students to play the drums. Like you said, I think the picnic table area with those premium boxing, that's going to be bought up very quickly. I think that this is such a great thing that's finally being pushed through. Now here's your perfect avenue, though. Conceptually, yes. Yes. But the fact that it's being thought of to go ahead and redo the Auburn soccer complex is great to me. But it's your perfect avenue. This is the perfect time to rename it. It's the perfect time to cut a ribbon, do all the things, make it look nice. The more I look at this picture, the more I'm like, we should not name whatever is already there the Hoppa, because that'd be a disgrace to her. So let's get something like this. Let's get something good like this, and then let's name it. And so I really, truly, I want to believe it, but I'm going to say I really, truly hope that is the plan, is to get this done and name it. Or at least get this approved and then name it. And so then you have some Auburn soccer alumni and super fans who are greatly indebted to Karen Hoppa will maybe help out and get this going. But I'm very excited about it. When I know that none of you are going to enjoy this as you say this is your favorite one either. But when I look through it just for a time, and like I said, I'm not the biggest Auburn. I admittedly am not the biggest Auburn soccer know-all. I love following them, and I love taking the boys to the games we get to go to. But that is an area of campus I just feel like has been, I don't want to say neglected, but forgotten about, that needs an upgrade like the rest for some time. And I'm very glad to see that it's going to get that opportunity if all goes well.
Yes. The Hoppa, as we know it should be called, needs some investment. And I think this is a great sign to modernize it, not overdo things, but to take the bones that are there and make it look new, fresh, with hopefully a fresh new name. We're going to continue to push that. But I think it's a very cool concept that needs to not move from conceptualization to actually approval. And maybe as we watch some of these boards of trustee meetings, we might get some news about that in the future.
Yes.
So throw that out there for any BOTs that might be listening.
That's right.
Probably none, but hey, listen, we've made our case known. Get to the Hoppa.
How great, man. I will be there for ribbon cutting. I'm just telling you. And I will ask you to come, because if this comes,
ask me, I will be there.
If this comes to fruition after we've been saying it for a year now, longer. The last year was the first year. It's been over a year. Yeah. I mean, if it comes to fruition, I'm just going to be honest with you. We will take credit. We will take credit. I will take credit. Because there's no way anyone else has been pushing this like we have. And they don't have to give us public credit, but on this show, I will take credit. I will take credit on this show.
When it's just me and you, we're taking credit for it. And listen, I'm going to even give a shout out to some of our former co-hosts who did stoppage time. And we did with that as well. Looking at you, oh my gosh, Peter, and almost said Dallas was not the one that did that, but Drew and Peter who did that as well. So they get to take credit for it as well.
Yes,
because we want to see more attention given to Auburn soccer, and this right here is giving more attention to Auburn soccer with a modern new look for it. So that's exciting. And I'm glad we got to talk about it this week. All right, that's going to do it for episode 183 of the Auburn Experience podcast. Good to have Austin back with us after he had to take a little bit of R&R. And certainly we are getting very, very close to the start of the academic and athletic calendar year for the 2026-2027 year. As we leave you, I want to remind you the Auburn, well, almost did the couple things we need to do. If you want to reach out to us, you can do so, e2cnetwork@gmail.com. You can also message me on any of the direct messages on any social medias for our E2C Network stuff. Where can they find you, sir?
Yes, at E2, or no.
See, you did it too.
I did. At Austin G. Scott. Kyle doesn't give me access, nor should he, to the E2C Network platforms. At Austin G. Scott is where you can find me and give me all the kind of shenanigans you need to.
Yes, that is well deserved after taking a week off from us last week. But you're back better than ever. As we go, I remind you the Auburn Creed asks you to love mercy, do justly. I switched them up, but also walk humbly with God. Wow, I messed that one up. You guys,
we ask you to do the same. War Eagle.